So this is my arena match history in AOE DPS Arena, and as you can see, I'm just winning every single fight. And I can guarantee you guys, after watching this video, you will too, because there's a bunch of things that you can actually use to win in this AOE Arena. So we're going to go over the general knowledge in Arena overall, knowledge for AOE Arena specifically talking about how you want to manage the different waves, heroes that you want to avoid once you're in Overlord. Before you're in Overlord, you usually still can beat them if you don't have them. Then a way to cheat your victory through wave 2, characters that are viable, and a live example of how you want to play it out. So generally what you want to know for the AOE Arena and Arena overall is that it's quite fast paced. And that is big knowledge that you need to know. Because of that, you won't actually use your 5th unit 99% of the time. Which means, because of that, you will be able to build your team around not deploying your 5th unit. And you always want to use a Lord in your 5th slot that you're not gonna use, but he's just there to boost your DPS. He's just there to boost your DPS in the AOE Arena, because AOE Arena, it goes fast. There's not many waves that you will be able to withstand, so just put in a Lord for AOE Arena for your main DPS. And because it goes so fast paced, you want some low cost units, and generally you want to have someone like a Dolores. But lucky for you guys, there's also a really good free-to-play option for people that don't have a Dolores, and that is right here, Autumn, because she gives you a 60% crit damage and 30% crit rate buff with her ultimate, which is a big buff. But the biggest thing about her is that she's actually 5 cost. That's the exact game changer right there. The 5 cost, because with the 5 cost Autumn or Dolores, you will be able to have your main DPS have their ultimate up for wave 2 and the buffer ultimate up for wave 2 as well. And because of that, your DPS will one-shot wave 2 and deal a ton of damage to the enemy base, because the enemy didn't do much until that point. As for the DPS units that you usually want to use, it is definitely AOE mage focused, so Comet, Vierna, Iona and Hatsut are your best bets. Zilus just has too high cost, like I said before, it is too fast paced, you can't keep up with 29 cost. Now if you don't have one of these guys, you should try to avoid fighting them. I'm gonna be honest here, unfortunately Arena is quite heavy on single few units that you can beat. For example, I don't have a Salazar, and when I'm in Overlord DPS, single target DPS Arena, like 4 out of the 5 enemies that you get have a Salazar, and I know I just cannot beat them. So I don't even try to bother. A few honorable mentions that I didn't mention right there are Laurel. She is really good for your team. If I had her, I would take her over Leia any day, simply because she can regen 50% rage upon death. So if you take her in and then put her out, she will restore rage. So your general plan will be you deploy your first DPS and your healer or your buffer, 5 cost buffer. Second wave, you use their ultimates. Third wave, you have your second DPS in there, and then you put the Laurel and put her out again for the rage buff, and then you will have your ultimate in case you will go for 4th wave, or maybe even you have your ultimate in 3rd wave due to that already. And then for secondary DPSs and honorable mentions for DPSs, if you don't have one of the top tier DPS mentioned, are some marksmen right here. First of all, we have Razak. He's really good due to his huge multiplayer on his ultimate. He can do the same trick that I'm gonna show you guys how I use on wave 2 with Vierna. You can also play exactly the same with a Maul. If you have a Maul, you can use him for your main DPS as well, and just use the same trick with his ultimate for wave 2. And the other options that you can use as your secondary DPS are Valk, or someone like a Abomination, or even you could even go for Arrogance, and also where is he? Secondary DPS Scorch as well. While these guys don't deal as much damage as a Comet or a Hatsuit, these guys actually deal quite a good amount of AoE DPS, and on top of it, which is really useful for them, is that these guys right here, they will actually block 2 enemies. Now this doesn't sound as much, and it isn't too much, but it is still a way to keep your HP a little more topped up and take a little less damage. The concept you want to apply with Maul and all the other ones is you take a look at what champions do these guys have. You want to evaluate, do they have a better DPS than me, yes or no? So if they have Comet, Vierna, Iona or Hatsuit and you don't have one of them, they do. The second thing you want to evaluate is, do they have a buffer, a 5-cost buffer? If no, chances are you can win. Cause if you take a look here, I see this guy right here does not have a buffer. He has not have a buffer, and I personally do have one. So as I said, it's fast paced, so I have one hero here that I'm not going to deploy anyways. I have my main DPS with Vierna, and I have my 5-cost buffer, and I'm going to show you on the manual play how you want to play it out. As you can see, he has more BP than me, but I'm confident that I'm going to win simply because he does not have a buffer in place. So I wait here for my Vierna to be up. There we go, and we'll place her right here. And then we place our Dolores. Damn it. Okay, I wasted a lot of time here. But as you can see, wave 1 we lost. And the thing is, it does not matter. Wave 1 does not matter that much, because as you can see, I took 20% damage more than he did. Because wave 1, if both have an AoE mage, then both will get a little damage, but not too much. Wave 2 is where you can actually get a lot of stuff done. So we will buff our Vierna, and we will wait for these guys to come in. And I will actually put Comet down first, because for the other ones I'll explain later. And now use my Vierna ult, and because of the buff, she one-taps everyone. Why did I put Comet in before I used my Vierna ult? I could have cleared this stage a bit earlier. The reason for that is simple. If you auto-run this, and for example the run will go longer, the first run will go longer, then the timing of your Vierna ult will be earlier as well. And this way your Vierna would actually ult before the last enemy comes in, which means she wouldn't get anyone, not everyone, with her ultimate, which is suboptimal, which is something that you want to avoid. And so just a small avenue that you want to avoid if you're using a Vierna or a Maul, for example. Now this wave right here, really close. Because of it, I didn't use my Comet ult, and now next wave will be a free win. You can also place her down. Doesn't really matter, because she's so low she won't be able to take them down in time. So my ults are back up, right? I'll just use them. Suck. Wipe them off the map. And he's out. Simple as that. It's mainly the wave 2 that took damage, as you saw. So yeah, there you have it, guys. This is how you basically can beat anyone in AOE Arena at this point, as long as you follow these tips. And also, like you see here, I'm not gonna fight this guy. He has a Dolores, he has a Hatsuit and Vierna. I don't even try to fight him, because it's too risky for me. I can beat most of these guys. I won't bother. But who I'm going to bother with is this guy right here. While he has a strong lineup and more BP, he doesn't have a Lord in place, at least not the right Lord in place. He should have used Raiden in Lord position. And he doesn't use a Dolores or a Autumn, which makes me confident that I'm going to win either way. So as you can see, he has a cracked out Comet, but he's still gonna lose. I thought I'm gonna take more damage, honestly, but okay. Never mind, his Comet not that cracked, but as you can see here, wave 2 is where my strat comes in. Clutch, boom, and a huge nuke. And you can use this nuke with Wall, with Razak, with all these characters that I mentioned. And he's already down to 20% HP, and it's start of wave 3. And he's gone. And he's gone. Simple as that, basically. Simple as that. So yeah, this is how you win in Arena. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned how to try to build your units, your team. Try to play around wave 2. And also, bit underrated thing, but also how to avoid certain teams. Because let's be honest, you cannot always beat anyone. I'm Ronaldo, and I'm out. Peace.